Welcome to Profit and Prosper, a podcast for entrepreneurs who are ready to make some money while doing what they love. On this podcast, we're going to pull back the curtain and talk about all things business and money. But I promise you, this is not your typical boring numbers talk. I'm your host, Sarah Young, a CPA and CFO with over a decade of experience in finance, business, and leadership. I'm going to share everything I've learned from helping my clients grow more profitable businesses and keep more of what they earn while growing my own successful business along the way. You'll feel empowered and confident that you too can grow your wealth, live a rich life, and have an impact. Stick with me and you might even start to think that finance is fun. Let's dive in. What's up, everyone? In this week's episode of the podcast, I'm going to talk about something that has been coming up a lot with my clients lately, and that is, what is the next big move you need to make in your business? Where do you need to put your time and money in order to ultimately make more money out of your business? I think this must be coming up just because of the time of year. I don't know about y'all, but it's springtime. I always feel like spring and fall are transitional seasons, and I'm always ready to make a move at this time of year. Maybe I'm ready to plant the seeds, right, of my next big investment in my business and watch it grow over the coming months. Literally, because it's springtime. So if you're feeling like this, know you're not alone. This conversation has just been coming up a ton with my clients. And so in this episode, we're going to talk about ROI, return on investment, and we are going to talk about a framework that I use with my clients to help them think through how to make the most money out of their business with the least amount of effort. That is really the definition of ROI, okay? So let's start here. Shiny object syndrome is real. I know this. I have experienced it in my business. I know that you experience it too. As a business owner, it is so easy to see this massive to-do list that you have in front of you. It's so easy to come up with all of these different things that you could be spending your time and your money on addressing in your business. But shiny object syndrome is going to result in you wasting your time and money, because if you're not focused on the one or two areas of your business that need your attention the most in order to give you the best ROI, you are going to be putting your time and energy into things that don't give you ROI. You might be doing things that help you feel busy and help you feel like you're moving toward actually making money, but they're not actually the things that will make you more money. This is your brain's way of probably distracting you from doing some of the harder things in your business that you don't want to do. I totally do this in my business, and if I'm not careful, I will waste my time and do things that don't actually result in an increase to the bottom line, okay? So a lot of business owners either overspend or underspend in their business. I've found that not many people have a very good balance, and that's not your fault at all. It's all a part of your money mindset and the financial habits and behaviors that you have developed through your entire life. That's why I talk about mindset a lot, and just stepping back and recognizing when you are doing and thinking things that are not actually serving you. So either overspending or underspending in your business, you might feel again like you're doing things that are going to lead you to making more money, but they're actually probably not. So overspending in your business is really common when you have shiny object syndrome, and it's really common with business owners that are just starting out. So I'll give you an example. I was speaking at a conference a few weeks ago, and somebody asked me this question. She said, I've just started my business. I'm not really making any sales at all, but I really want to get other people's money because I'm tired of spending my own. So how do I get other people's money so I can spend their money? And my feedback was, I don't think you need other people's money, because I said, well, what are you spending all of your money on? And it was, my logo, my email marketing software, my Instagram scheduling tool, all these like back end operational things that cost a lot of money and time to implement in your business, right? But what's the actual roadblock in her case? The roadblock, the thing preventing her from actually making more money, had nothing to do with back end systems and everything to do with sales. And so this is an example of when your brain doesn't want to do some of the hard things, right? You don't want to go out and do sales because sales can be scary. And so instead, you put your time and attention and money into doing all these other things that make you feel like you're busy, but you're actually not doing the thing that is going to increase your bottom line the fastest. The same can be said for underspending. Business owners who underspend tend to like to be frugal, right? There's this idea, right, that the way to wealth is to be frugal and to pinch pennies and save all your money. And listen, I'm not an underspender. I'm not a frugal person. I will give you that. I don't agree that saving all of your pennies and tracking every cent that goes out the door is the way to wealth. In my opinion, the way that I want to make wealth is I want to make a crap ton of money out of my business. That's how I want to make wealth. And I want to spend my money guilt-free along the way. That said, business owners who underspend in their business tend to invest a lot of their time into things and doing things the free or cheap way because they don't see them using their time as a quote unquote expenditure, right? Except it is, because your time is money, right? If you are going to spend time on putting in all these back-end tools and learning a skill that you need to implement in your business, that is time that you could have spent doing other things and making more money, okay? Everything in your business is an investment. Every dollar that you spend in your business is an investment because that is a dollar that could have been invested elsewhere, right? You are choosing to invest that money into your business in the hopes that you will get a return. Whether you think about it in this way or not, this is really what you're doing. Even if you decide to quit your job, every second, every hour that you invest into your business is an hour that you could have spent working and making a paycheck. And so you are investing money because you are investing your time. So let's talk about ROI. ROI stands for return on investment. And so now you know all of your time and money that you put into your investment, into your business, is an investment. And I want you to get a return. Now, the return is sometimes in terms of money, but also sometimes in terms of time saved, right? So return on investment, the way that you calculate this is you ask yourself, when I put money in or time, when I put this into my business, what do I get back? How much money do I get back if I invest X amount of dollars into this thing? And a lot of people say, well, what is a benchmark? How much ROI should I be getting? And the answer is always, it depends. There's no hard and fast rule. Everything is different. But as a general rule, I would say an ROI of 3x is sort of a baseline. It is a minimum level of return that I think anybody should get when you invest time or money into something. So let's do an example. Let's say you buy a program or a coach relationship or whatever for $5,000. I want you to very clearly see how you are going to get at least 3 times that investment or $15,000 back from making that investment, from whatever you learn, from whatever you implement in that program. I want to see you getting that back. But don't forget, you're not actually going to get $15,000. You spent 5, and so you're only going to get 10, right? That's why the ROI needs to be at least 3x, because if the ROI is 1 for 1, you spend $5,000. Oh, I get $5,000 back. That's cool. But you spent 5 to get 5, and so there's no return. Really, the definition of a successful business is you put time and money in, and your return is exponential, right? That's how you generate wealth. You figure out the formula for you where if I put in X, Y, and Z, I get a return of hopefully way more than 3 times that. I also like to use ads as an example here, especially for you product-based businesses, because the ROI on spending money on marketing is sometimes really hard to quantify, and marketing people hate it when I ask these questions, but it's so easy to spend a lot of money on marketing. And if you don't track the return, then how do you know you're getting an ROI? How do you know you're investing in the right things? So let's say you spend $50 on ads and you get $150 in sales. You might think, oh, that's amazing. Except, let's say your profit margin is 50%, your gross profit. So that is your sales minus what it costs you to buy the product that you then resold. So if you sell $150 and your margin is 50%, that means you keep $75. So in this case, you have spent $50 in order to get $75, right? That's not a very good ROI. Unless you are then able to take these customers that you acquire by spending the $50 and get repeat clients and be able to like get more money out of them over the long term, right? Customer lifetime value, something that's important. I don't want to go into all of the like jargon right now, but just understand, right? This concept of ROI is when I put time or money in, what do I get back? But let's be clear on really what are you getting back and make sure it is worthwhile to put your money there as opposed to somewhere else. So when I talk to my clients about where should they make the next investment in their business, I always ask this question: what is the roadblock that you have right now from making more money? And so I literally picture in my head when I ask this question, maybe it's because I have a 2-year-old, I picture a slide on a playground and I picture, those twisty turny slides. And I picture something like sand or water going down the slide. When I ask what is blocking you from making more money, I picture something on that slide. Maybe it's a stick, maybe a rock, maybe it's just like the slide is wonky and something is creating a bottleneck. And so the sand or the water or whatever that's flowing down is not able to flow past this point. In your business, you have a ton of things that are presenting blocks, right? So literally at the top of the slide is going to be sales, new leads, new eyeballs on your business coming in at the very top of your funnel. At the bottom of the slide is money landing in your pocket as the business owner, profits in your business. From the top of the slide all the way down to the bottom, there are going to be a lot of rocks and sticks and twists and turns. The point is you need to figure out which one of those rocks or sticks or twists or turns or humps or whatever, what is the one piece or maybe two pieces that are presenting the worst obstacles, the biggest obstacles? Which ones are the biggest roadblocks? That is where your ROI is, okay? And this is where having shiny object syndrome is going to get you distracted because you are going to pick up the tiny little rocks instead of freeing up the really big blockage, okay? So you might picture a slide, you might picture a river or a stream or something like that. Just picture something in your head flowing. Where in your business is the flow being stopped? This is preventing money from coming in at the top of your funnel and actually making its way into your pocket. And if you think about like out in Instagram land, we all tend to focus on sales, right? We tend to see the big vanity metrics of look how big my audience is. Look how big this launch was, right? That's top of the slide. That has nothing to do with how much money actually makes it to the bottom, right? Into your pocket. So when I ask where's the roadblock, there are generally going to be roadblocks in one of these 4 areas. So let's talk about 4 areas where you might have roadblocks in your business. These 4 areas are sales, systems, support, and yourself. All right, let's talk about each of these 4 areas. And these really sort of go from top of the slide to the bottom, right? So the first one is sales. Sales meaning you are getting new leads in the door and then converting them into paying customers. So this is where sales and marketing coaches talk about, or you see us talking about all these strategies. A lot of the strategies tend to focus on getting new leads in the door, getting new eyeballs on your website, getting people to walk into your store, getting your Instagram audience to grow. And then converting those leads into paying customers is a completely different set of activities, right? It's so easy to spend a ton of money in one of these two areas without actually asking yourself, what's the problem? So I'm going to give you an example of a client. I had this conversation with one of my CFO clients a few weeks ago, and I thought it was such an amazing example of this. So she's a service-based business, and most of her customers come from Google. So they find her website, they're Googling for her service, and they find her website, they come in, they book a call, then they have the call, and then they book a package, right? This is pretty typical for a lot of service-based businesses. And she said, we've defined this is your revenue goal. How do we get there? And she said, well, Sarah, I'd really like to spend some money on ads, like a few $1,000s a month on ads. I'd like to test this out and see if I can increase my sales. And I said, okay, but what's the actual problem? What's the actual roadblock? Is it getting new leads, which is what ads are for? Or is it converting the leads you're already getting to paying customers? So here's what I had her do. Go and actually track the numbers. And these are not financial numbers. And so a lot of people don't track these, but I actually think some of your sales numbers are really important to track because it all plays into how you make money. So you need to know, in this case, what I asked her to do is go back and track how many people landed on your website, how many people booked a call, how many people showed up to the calls, and then how many people actually bought. And what we found after tracking all of those numbers was that her conversion rate was actually only 20%. So out of all the people that booked a call from the website, only 20% of those people were converting. And so that is a very different issue to solve than running ads, because if you spend a few $1,000s on ads, but your conversion rate is 20%, then you are not going to get the best return because you're not going to get as many clients who actually book, right? So in her case, what we discussed was, well, let's invest money into increasing that conversion rate. And so increasing the conversion rate, meaning you have a clearer website, you pre-qualify the leads that are booking calls, you make sure you're clear up front on packages and pricing and all of that so that the people who you do talk to are more likely to convert. You're showing the value, right? Work on this instead of turning on ads. And then once you get your conversion rate up, generally for a service-based business, you want your conversion rate, and I'm not a sales coach, let me caveat this, but in my opinion, I think 50% should be a minimum, up to probably 75%. If you're converting more than 75%, you're probably priced too low. You need to have people telling you no, but you want to convert at least 50% of your sales calls. Otherwise, to make sales, you're going to have to do so many sales calls. It's going to be ridiculous, okay? So in this case, the best place for her to spend money was actually on fixing her website, she's having a website audit done, having a designer come in and do some things, having, more clarity around who's booking and what are the objections, and let's work on resolving those. Then once that is solved and her conversion rate gets up, then we turn on the ads and increase the leads, and she's going to convert more sales. So the roadblock number one is sales, and getting clear on, do you need to get new leads in the door, or do you need to work on converting the leads that you do have, right? Two very different problems, both very expensive to solve, right? So we don't want to waste money there. The second area is your systems. So this is really where you convert a paying customer into money in your pocket, right? They go through your process for providing your product or service. This is you executing on the work, and this is making sure that your customers are satisfied, right? If you have new leads, if you're making the right sales goal every month, right? If you're making enough money to theoretically pay all your bills, but you're not able to convert that into money in your pocket, then there's probably an issue with your systems. So you could be, not standardizing what you do with your customers. You could be customizing everything that you do. You might be, not providing the highest customer satisfaction. Maybe there's ways you could increase that. Back-end systems are going to be the focus if you have sales coming in the door. All right, so systems would be the next area. I put financial systems in this bucket too, but this would be like back-end finance and operations type systems. Do you feel like you are working efficiently and your team is working efficiently? Or do you feel like you're all over the place? Are you unclear? Is your team unclear on what they need to be doing and when and why? Or do you have things standardized and streamlined, right? Processes and systems are important when you have sales coming in the door. And so this was me, honestly, about a year ago. And I had to invest in having somebody help me with my project management system because my team was unclear on what should we be doing, how do we increase the standard of what we're doing so that our customers are getting really good value out of our work, things of that nature, right? So back-end systems is section number 2, or roadblock number 2. Number 3 is support. This is your team, right? Once you have solid sales coming in the door, once you have systems in place so that everyone is clear on what they're doing and when and how, and things are standardized, then you can increase your capacity, right? By hiring a team. So if you hire team members, this could literally be team members in your business to do client work. This could be administrative team members. It could be a VA or a bookkeeper to help you free up your time so that you can go do more work. This could also be household help, right? Maybe you hire a house cleaner or a landscaper to come in so that you're not spending your free time doing all this stuff at your house that drains you and leaves you with less to provide to do at your business, right? So this could be support in any way, but ultimately the point of the support is to increase your capacity to generate revenue. And I know it's hard to think about ROI here sometimes. If you have a client-facing person, if you're going to hire, like in my case, when I hire another bookkeeper, like the ROI of a bookkeeper for me is pretty clear because I know this is how many clients they're going to serve. This is how much revenue I'll generate out of their activities that they're doing. That's clear. It's less clear when you're thinking about hiring a bookkeeper or a VA or a house cleaner or somebody like that because it's less tangible what you get back. But it all comes down to your time, right? Your time is also an investment because how are you spending your time? And I'm in no way saying that your time always has to be quote unquote productive. I actually have hired house cleaners and landscapers for us personally at home because it helps me spend my free time resting, which then in turn also makes me more productive and able to do a better job in my business in less time, okay? So I know it's hard to quantify the ROI there, but you know if there's a roadblock for you somewhere, if you're spending, like for me right now, I'm actually about to put out a job description for a VA because I am spending a ton of time every week doing routine tasks over and over and over again that I could easily outsource to somebody at this point. And then I can use that time to serve my customers better, to be the CEO, to come up with new products, to do more sales and marketing, right? To grow my audience, do podcasts, speak at masterclasses, things like that. That's what capacity is there for. The 4th roadblock is yourself. And so I say this a lot. Your business is only going to be as successful as you, the CEO and business owner, allow it to be. So if there is some sort of skill or mindset that you need help with, then that can also be a roadblock for your business. And this is where hiring like coaches comes in, right? Maybe you hire a business coach because you need help with, maybe you have some sort of block around actually being successful or implementing the next big shift in your business or something of that nature. It's helpful to hire out people to help you get blocked. So if you feel like, I'm making sales, I have good systems in place, I have a team in place, like where is my roadblock? Look at yourself because there's probably some sort of skill or mindset that you could up level for you that will then trickle down to the rest of your business. So then the end is money in your pocket, right? So back to the slide analogy, we have sales, leads coming in and converting into paying clients. And then they go through the twists and turns of our process, our systems where we execute the work. And then we have our team providing support along the way. And then money lands in your pocket. I would say the self piece is going to, maybe that's not so much a roadblock along the way, but maybe you can also envision it as increasing the size of the slide. And so maybe when you start your business, you have a small slide, and then maybe over time you up-level you as a CEO and you increase the size so that you can have more flow, right? So that's my slide analogy. I hope it makes sense to everybody else listening to this. But ultimately, the bottom of the slide is money landing in your pocket. And so how is this money flowing from the very top all the way down to the bottom? And how do you identify where is the next best investment in your business to make the flow easier? That's where you need to put your time and money. I have a couple of quick examples I want to give as we wrap this episode up. So I gave the one example of deciding to spend money on ads versus increasing conversions. Here's another one about, should I hire a team member or not? I had this conversation very recently, and the comment that my client said was, we have very high margin strategy sessions, basically, that we do up front, like a VIP day. But inevitably, every person that does this VIP day wants to be on retainer for us to execute the day-to-day work after we do the strategy session of what to do. And right now, we don't have capacity for any more retainers. And so I'm not really able to take on any more of these very profitable strategy sessions because we cannot do the back end work. So what's the roadblock there, right? Clearly there's a good process in place. Clearly there's a good sales mechanism in place. And so the roadblock there is support, right? How do you hire a team member, and where do you need to put a team member in place in order to increase capacity so that you can then immediately turn around and bring on more of these high profit margin strategy sessions? So there's one where the roadblock is in the support section. I have other clients who have physical store locations. And let me give an example here, right? A lot of times with the shop, with a physical location, you want to present like the best side of yourself. You want it to be an amazing customer experience when somebody actually walks in that door. And so the question often comes up of, well, should we invest in this new thing to upgrade our shop? Should we, get better furnishings, better lighting? Should we offer, a new product line in the shop? And my question always is that the roadblock, right? Or is the roadblock actually your sales? This is why it's helpful to track your numbers so you know how many sales you're making, and also to track your conversion rates. How many people are literally walking in the door? How many of those people are buying from you? So you can answer the question of, well, if we have plenty of people walking in the door, but our conversion rate is low, then yeah, maybe you do need to upgrade the experience. Maybe you do need to invest in a new product line. But if the issue really is there's just not enough people walking in the door, but the ones who do walk in do seem to be happy and they do buy, then the problem is not in investing in new equipment or a new product line. The issue is I need to get more eyeballs. I need to do marketing. I need to get people in the store, right? Two very different approaches again, and both of those options can be very expensive, right? To implement these fixes, you want to make sure you're doing the right thing. And my last example I want to give is myself, actually. And this is a really good example of squirrel brain. So right now, my roadblock is in top of funnel. So I have invested in systems. This was last year. I invested in support by hiring a team. I do have a few other team members to hire, but right now, these are not actually the things that are preventing me from making money currently. Where I need to make more money is top of funnel by growing my audience. And so my current investment is in the top, like, how do I bring in new eyeballs? How do I get in front of new people? And I'm doing that by hiring someone to pitch me for podcasts, by going out and asking for speaking engagements, trying to get in front of other people's masterminds, going to local events for business owners because things are finally opening back up after COVID, right? Going to just get my name out in front of other people to ultimately increase awareness and then convert those, hopefully at my same percentages. I have a pretty solid conversion rate. So when I get new eyeballs, converting a solid number of those into paying clients that can then be served by the systems and the support team that I have in place already, okay? And I say that this is a good example of squirrel brain because what I also have to work on every day is focus on doing that thing. I have good offers in place. I have a good team in place, but I have had ideas for the last few months that during tax season, I was not able to execute on. Specifically, I have an idea for a course for new business owners, and I have an idea for a VIP day style CFO strategy intensive. And, I have to remind myself that my priority needs to be top of funnel lead generation to increase my utilization of my team's capacity. That's how I'm going to make more money. I'm not going to necessarily make more money by getting distracted on making a course for new business owners or putting out a VIP day strategy session. I'm only allowing myself to work on those things if I do the other activities first. So you're probably going to see me roll these things out in the next few months because this is just fun for me. And so I'm not saying don't do the things that you want to do that are fun for you, but I'm saying I have to be very aware of my tendency to want to work on the fun things because I don't find the other stuff that needs to happen to be as fun. I don't think it is as fun to go out and have to increase my audience size. I don't think it is as fun to go out to networking events because I am an introvert and it exhausts me, okay? But I know that when I do those activities, it results in sales. And so that has to be my number one priority. And nothing else can come at the expense of me doing that. And this is literally something I have to remind myself of every single day as I'm prioritizing what to work on. And so I do manage to do the things that need to be done in my business. And then in my extra time, this is when I work on the things that are for fun for me because I'm thankful enough that I'm able to, do both. But if you are in a place where you're feeling burned out and over capacity, then you have to be very careful with how you spend your time and where you spend your money. And this was me when I was in tax season because all of my extra time was spent on tax returns. And I had to be very cognizant of not spending my quote unquote free time doing the things that weren't actually going to unstick the roadblock. So ultimately, what I want to ask you is, what is the roadblock to you making more money? What is it? Where are you getting stuck along the path? What is the biggest obstacle that you have to putting more money in your pocket? And you know the answer to this, but the answer might not be what is fun. The answer might not be what's easy, but that's running a business for you, all right? So go and ask yourself, where are you getting stuck? Is it your sales? Is it your systems, your support team, or yourself? Okay. Go figure out the answer to that. And that is how you are going to get the best ROI and make the most money in your business the fastest. All right. So that's it for this week. I want you to go and do that work. Go write it out in your journal. Go, put it in a Google Doc. I want you to write down what your roadblock is and what things you can do to get unstuck and how you are going to prioritize that over the next few weeks, the next few months in your business. And I promise you, as you work on your roadblocks, they will change over time and you will eventually grow your business to a point where you are able to put more money in your pocket. And that is what I want for everybody. All right. So I hope this was helpful and I will see you all next week. Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Now, I want you to go take some action. What's one thing you can do this week to create more profit in your business? Send me a DM on Instagram at YoungCoCFO and share your action item with me. If you have a question or topic you'd like me to dive into, or if you're feeling empowered about taking charge of your finances, let's continue the conversation. Go to profitandprosper.co to submit a question or topic for me to talk about on the show. And because we all profit and prosper better with friends, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe wherever you listen, and share the episode. Make sure you tag me at YoungCoCFO on Instagram so I can give you some love, and I'll see you in the next episode.